Hello, my name's Debbie Morley. I'm a Senior Strata Manager at Strata. Welcome to Be Wise with Strata. I'm going to talk about meetings and scheme budgets. Now, this has changed because in the old Act it was part of the bylaws, now it's in the main body of the Act. And to me as a Strata Manager, the key to a successful year is in the planning for the general meeting, and that needs doing in advance. You need to gather quotes to aid your budget, and if you've got a 10-year plan, you need to review that so that the AGM is as proactive and successful as possible. Now, under section 127 of the Act, you need to have an AGM every 12 months and no later than 15 months since the last AGM. Best practice, however, would be that you have the AGM within 2 months of the end of financial year for your strata scheme. And best practice is always obviously what we're after. At the AGM, there are certain items that must be included. The election of the council, and that is part of the Schedule 1 bylaws, the consideration of your accounts, the presentation of your insurance certificates and schedules, making sure, of course, it's current, and everything else is special business. Now, general meetings usually are an annual general meeting called, as I say, by the Council of Owners once every year. Sometimes you have to call an extraordinary general meeting, and that's all covered by section 128. Now, extraordinary general meetings are usually called by the Council of Owners within the strata scheme, or if 25% of the unit entitlement of owners have requested it from the Council of Owners. And if the Council of Owners don't call that extraordinary general meeting, an EGM, within 21 days, as long as 50% of the owners have made the request, they can actually convene an EGM. The principle of AGMs and EGMs, annual general meetings and extraordinary general meetings, are very similar in the way the meetings are processed and proceeded. You have to have a written notice. Now, that written notice is under section 129. The new Reformed Act or amended Act says that you need a minimum of 14 days notice, 14 days. But again, at Strata, we go for best practice and we try to allow 21 days from the day of posting to the day of meeting. In this new world, we are also allowed to have electronic copies sent to you, not just paper copies. If you want to save costs, obviously, encourage your owners to approve e-copies and make sure that your strata manager is aware of that. The meeting notice must state the date, the time and the venue of the meeting. Sounds simple, but it's amazing how that could be missed, especially now we also need to say the notice has to say the method of voting. Because we can e-vote now, we can do paper tick votes, we don't have to meet in person. Again, the strata scheme, the Council of Owners, can make decisions on that, but there are various options available now. If an owner wants an item on that notice of meeting, they must put that request in writing, obviously before the notice goes out. So going back, best practice is that you have your AGM within, or your general meeting within 2 months of the end of financial year. All owners know when their end of financial year is. So if they have something they want on that notice, send it in writing to your strata manager as soon as possible to ensure it is included on the notice. That is your right to be able to do that. When you get to a meeting, having sent out the notice, minimum of 14 days, ideally 21 days in advance, you might be there in person, you might be there by video, you might be there by telephone, or you might have a proxy. However you attend, there has to be a quorum to hold that meeting. Now the quorum is actually people that are entitled to vote, and it must meet 50% of the lots of your scheme. But you need to be entitled to vote. In other words, you need to be financial. If there aren't enough people at the start of the meeting, you wait 30 minutes. And now, after 30 minutes, whoever is in that meeting makes the quorum. So my recommendation is be part of the meeting. Make the effort to arrange either a proxy or be there in person, by video or by telephone, to ensure you are part of that quorum and your voice is heard. Holding meetings remotely is possible under section 131, as long as it doesn't place an unreasonable burden on the Strata company or the Strata scheme. Again, at Strata, we have that all organised and have done since the beginning, well, since COVID, but certainly since the 1st of May, so that you can have video conference, telephone conference, rather than meeting face to face, if that suits your Strata company. So once you get to your meeting and you're going through the process and you've covered the must includes, the key things are about the way to vote and the resolutions. Most meeting resolutions will be what's called ordinary resolutions. That is, it's a simple majority. If you have other resolutions, a resolution without dissent, or a special resolution, or a unanimous resolution, the criteria for those resolutions do need to be met, usually involving the number of people there, 50%, and the counting of the unit entitlements, and ensuring that the votes cast meet the criteria of those specific resolutions. But most resolutions will be a simple resolution, an ordinary resolution with a simple majority. Some owners like to do voting through a poll voting, where you actually request before the motion is voted upon that all the vote is completed under unit entitlement, not just a show of hands. And that then means the unit entitlement must be over the 50% of the unit entitlement to pass that motion. At the AGM, to drive your Strata scheme forward for the next financial year, one of the key items is the election of Council of Owners. Now, the election of the Council of Owners sets up the group of people that are going to be representing the whole of your Strata scheme for the financial year. A minimum of 3 people, maximum 7. And it is important that people get involved and take part in their Strata scheme. So I always recommend that people, if they're not sure about joining the Council of Owners, talk to your Strata manager. Experience the opportunities by talking to other people that have been on the Council of Owners. It's very worthwhile. It is a voluntary role, but it gives you an underlying understanding of your Strata scheme. The other most important item is about the budget. And the budget, now under section 102 of the Strata Titles Act, it's essential that it is planned in advance and the proposed budget is discussed and approved with or without amendments to enable the Strata scheme to drive through the works that are required for the next year. Your Strata scheme budgets under section 102 needs careful preparation by the Council of Owners, especially the Treasurer, working with your Strata manager. Already you've had a video about the reserve fund and the 10-year maintenance plan. I'm not going to talk about that. Under section 101 in the Act, you do need to keep your accounting records. There needs to be a statement of accounts, your liabilities and assets at the end of your financial year, and an income and expenditure for your Strata scheme for your financial year. Your budget is for 1 year, your financial year. Under section 102.4, at the general meeting, you can vary the approved budget. At BWise, we are already putting in place the year's budget, but we're also rolling it over for the next year with the meeting approval to ensure that you have consistency and continuity of the budget to enable works to occur before your next general meeting. If you're having improvements or alterations of the common property, then you need to look at section 1025, because again, if that works is going to cost an awful lot of money, that's over $500 per lot times the number of lots. If it's going to cost more than that, then you need on your agenda a special resolution with 2 quotes for that work. And that is if it's for improvements or alterations on common property. Otherwise, the budget is usually covered as an ordinary, or is covered as an ordinary resolution on the agenda. Ultimately, as I said at the beginning, a well-planned meeting and a well-planned budget enables a sound platform for your strata scheme to move forward in the next year. The Council of Owners then have a clear way forward with directives from all the owners from the meeting. I'm passionate that as a strata manager, I work with the Council of Owners as the representatives of your strata scheme to ensure a successful general meeting. Please work with your strata manager, and then you have a voice and a way forward to have a successful, harmonious strata scheme for the next year. If you have any other questions that you want to ask, please do not hesitate to contact us. And if you have any topics you would like us to cover in these videos, please do email bwise@bstrata.wa.com.au. Thank you very much. I look forward to speaking with you or talking with you later. Bye-bye.